Alright, so I'm going to be teaching you how to wrap your dog's feet for sports or high impact activities. You always want to have bandage scissors on hand. They have a little stopper here that helps you slide between your dog's paw and the bandage in order to cut the bandage off, and B, it helps prevent your dog from getting cut while you're cutting the wraps off. You also need wrap. This is 4-inch Power Flex. There's also Co-Flex, also made by the same company. It's really personal preference either way. The Power Flex I find is a little bit more durable, but it's also a little bit pricier per roll. This is Leo. He is a 9.5-year-old Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix. He's retired from Flyball now, but raced for many years. Only retired due to the pandemic. And we're going to demonstrate a couple of different wrapping techniques. One is if you just find that your dog is either tearing their dew claws or burning their stopper pads. It covers the same area. Leo, stand. Good boy. So there's a right way and a wrong way to put the bandage on. You want to be rolling this way, not this way, if that makes sense. All right. So you want to take your dog's paw, you want to find the wrist joint, and you're going to start right above it. You want to start at an angle like this so that the corner is nice and tucked in once you start wrapping. You want to make sure you get it tight enough that it's not going to slide off the dog's leg, but you need it loose enough that it's not cutting off circulation. So, wrap down, and then just give it a couple of layers of protection, like so. And then this is my dull pair of bandage scissors, my sharp pair I loaned out to a friend. And then you just want to kind of squeeze down the end so that it doesn't come up. And in order to check the tightness, you want to be able to snugly fit a finger in there. You want to have some resistance if you pull. That way it's going to be just the right tightness. So that is how to wrap if you're just protecting the stopper pad and the dew claw. If you're trying to get a little bit of traction, you can wrap far enough down that it is covering the main paw pad and not the toes, or if your dog is like Leo used to be and has a tendency to get friction burn or tears in the paw pads, both the main pads and the toe pads, then you can wrap all the way to the toes. Another important thing to note is that if your dog does have dew claws, Leo does not, you want to make sure to keep them well maintained. You want to keep them nice and short as well as filed so that they're not digging into the leg while wrapped. If you do find that it's chafing, you can try wrapping a little bit looser, or you can also just use a small piece of gauze as padding. So on this leg, I'm going to demonstrate wrapping all the way to the toes. Again, you want to make sure you are starting the wrap above the wrist. The stopper pad will help prevent the wrap from sliding down, but it's not foolproof, which is why you got to have it snug. Now, some dogs, the first couple of times that you wrap them all the way to the toes, you might notice that your dog is high-stepping, just, it feels weird to them. Leo has not been wrapped in quite a few years, well, about 2 years, so he may, put his foot down weird. You want to make sure you have multiple layers of protection so that if friction causes some of the layers to rub off, you still have protection. Oh, good boy. Now, if you find that you need to wrap the back feet, which, again, you may be wrapping for traction, in which case you don't go to the toes, or you may be wrapping to the toes because they burn their pads. Wrapping the back foot can be a little bit trickier than the front foot because there's no stopper pad. But they do have this point of the hawk. Now, it can be a little bit tricky to get the right angle here because you don't want to restrict the movement of this tendon here, but you do want to get it above the point of the hawk so that it helps to keep it up. So I'm just going to pick up his foot. I know, buddy, you're not used to this anymore. And you want maybe 1/2 inch of the wrap to be above the point. That way he still has full range of motion. And this one I will wrap as if I'm just wrapping for traction, so you can see what the foot looks like. Again, you just want to tamp it down a little bit so that it doesn't come unraveled on you. Alright. So, those are the 3 different ways of wrapping. And it's important to note that when you do wrap all the way to the tip of the toes, you don't want to close it off and wrap the front, because you still need to be able to cut the bandage off. And when cutting the bandage off, you just slide that little stopper on the bandage pad, or bandage scissors, into the wrap, and cut like so. It can be a little tricky if your scissors are dull like this pair is to get through where it has multiple layers. And if your dog has a lot of feathering on the back of their legs, sometimes it gets a little bit caught, like it did with him just now. And again, just slide it in and cut. Very simple.